Good morning everyone and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. And once again I'm just checking my microphone. Yeah, I think you can hear me. Right, today a little bit of digression because I shared this with you yesterday. So we're going to use it in a couple of ways today. Now the first time I bought some of this, it must have been, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and I tidied up my craft room and I've never been able to find it since, so I don't know whether it got thrown away, but I was mooching about on Amazon and I spotted it again, so I thought I'm going to get some. So we're going to do a couple of things with it today, and it's really quick and easy. So first of all, I'm going to have to put my scruffy mat down, because it is a permanent ink once dry, but when it's wet you can use it like a watercolor. So there, I've put my scruffy mat down and I've got a piece of embossing. This is a Tim Holtz folder and I can't remember which one it is, but it's kind of metallics and rivets. So for anyone who loves their steampunk, this is a great product. Now this is, as it says, high viscosity, which means it's a bit thick, yeah, like me. Oh, what a thing to say first thing in the morning. There it is, my brain is high viscosity too. Right, fluid graphite. Essentially what graphite is, it's a pencil. So you've got a liquid pencil in a pot. Now if you use it as is, which is thick, and I'm going to take the lid off so you can see it. I don't know if you can see that. It is, I'm going to tip it up. She says she's going to tip it up, but she's not going to throw it all over the place. I hope you can see that. It's thicker than, oh, I've got to find a comparison. Let's say 3 times thicker than nail polish. That kind of viscosity. And you can use it neat, or you can blend it with water and other watercolours. Onto this piece today, what I'm going to share with you, which I think steampunk lovers will love, is just to use it neat. And then I've got my little bowl with a little bit of water, and at the moment I've got this paintbrush. So I'm going to take some out of this pot, and you can see just how thick that is. Can you see it? It's quite thick, and I'm just going to brush it on. So I want to get it into all my little gaps and crevices. In fact, I think I might add a bit of water with it for the first one. This is watercolour cardstock that I'm working on, by the way. This is from Walmart, my usual watercolour cardstock. So I want to get this down, and I just want to cover up all of those areas. Now you will find that the more water you put with it, the paler the shade. So all it's like is like, you know, when you push really lightly on your pencil and you get a shade of smoky grey rather than a real harsh colour. And you'll probably see that in a minute because I've got this bit with water. And then what I'll do is I'll try and touch pieces up with the neat product. There we go. Let's get that good and dark again. So I just want to get into all of my bits. So you don't have to do anything special, you know, no fancy painting. You just want to be able to get your product down into all of those bits. You could do this with any embossing folder, but I just think it kind of lends itself to grunge and steampunk and masculine style cards, if you know what I mean. So I've pretty much almost got all my paper covered, I think. I've missed a few bits. I'll just tip-tap-toe into those, and then spread out any that I've got left. Now, as I said, once this is dry, it's permanent. So it's not like a pencil where you can erase it, which is a shame really, because if you could erase it, you could do some amazing stuff. I like to use it neat through stencils. Right, I think I've got a couple of bits there. If you can see a couple of bits, you have to forgive me, but I've tried to cover everything. Little Bo's having a bark, bless him. I've got the front door open. Just letting the neighbours know that he's here. Right, I'm just going to pause for a second, let that dry, and we'll come back. Okay, that's almost dry. There's still a few wet patches, but you can see the colour there. It's identical to pencil. When you're using it, you can't tell the difference between that and a HB1. Do you know what I mean? So what I want to do now is, because I watered this down, it's more of a charcoaly grey. So I just want to go over the screw areas, and then I'm going to show you the magic. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of this again. Now, because it's viscous, you don't want to obliterate the texture on your folder. So just use a little bit on your screw heads, and, you know, just dip back into your pot and just get a little bit. So I'm scraping that on there and then going back and just spreading it out. Now, when you're using this through stencil, use your spatula to drag it through and let it dry naturally. That's what I would do. I'm going to put a little bit here, a little bit here, and a little bit neat there. And I've got lovely mucky fingers, but it does wash off. So what I'm doing is touching up the screw heads. Right, I'm going to leave it at that because that is going to dry now, and I'll be right back. Well, it's not fully dry yet, but I just wanted to share that bit where it got a little bit of extra water, because it just looks oxidized, doesn't it? I like that effect. But you can see there's still a little bit shimmering there. So I'll go away for a second and I will be right back. Right, so that's as good as dry, and I'll leave it like that. There's a couple of tiny little spots, but I don't think that's going to affect the effect too much. So there we've got graphite down onto our embossed cardstock. And now, oh yeah, just when you thought I was crazy enough, I've got a teaspoon. Ooh, you can see all kinds of things in a teaspoon. But there you go. We're now going to gently, you don't have to push down hard, really gently take your teaspoon and rub it on the surface. That's all we're going to do. Just pray that your graphite is dry. And I think it is better to let it dry naturally. Although I must admit I haven't tried it with a heat gun. And you're just rubbing the spoon over the top. Now, I don't know if you used to do it when you were at school. You used to go on little field trips. And you used to take your brass rubbing chalks and your papers with you. And we used to go into some weird stuff like, you know, old cemeteries and monuments. And when I'm talking old cemeteries, I'm talking 15th century here, me being from the UK. And we would do brass rubbings of all these little ornamental sections on gravestones and stuff. Because many of them would be kind of Celtic style crosses and things like that. So we've got my spoon going around and around and around here. And you're probably thinking, what on earth? But I'm going to pick it up and show you. Yes, I am. No, I think I've got a lot of it done there. So now for the reveal. Now you're looking at that and you're thinking, well, that ain't nothing, is it? And then you put it in the light. Can you see that? Isn't that great? It just glistens like mica. It looks like real metal. As soon as you put it in the light, you've got metal. That's all I can say, is it just looks like metal. And then you turn it away from the light and you charcoal grey, put it back in the light, and your metal again. So if you've got like your cogwheels and stuff like that, you just got to remember, I'm not pushing hard. All I'm doing is just sweeping it over the surface. That's all I'm doing, because you do not want to crush your embossing. And just backwards and forwards a few times. And that has produced metal. Oh, I love it. Yes. I mean, if you've got any door dies or anything like that, you know, for creepy castles, or even if you want to do a Halloween moon, once you add this to water, you can create a faux moon with it. You know, get all the drippy bits going in there, and then cut it out, and then just go over it with a spoon. It doesn't even have to be a metal spoon. I think you can use a plastic spoon, just as long as you're burnishing it. You could burnish it with a cloth as well. But I love that little bit there. And then once you catch it, it just looks like, you know, it's oxidized metal. Ooh, it's great. Ooh, I'm having fun. Yeah, right. I'm going to put that aside. Now, what I'm going to show you is that you can mix it with watercolor. So what I've got here, let's scrape the bottom of my water bowl here and see exactly what we've got. So there's still quite a lot of colour in that, so I'm not going to use any more, because I just wanted to show you you can mix it with your other watercolours. So I've got Jane Davenport here. I haven't used this for ages, and I'm going to give it a squeeze. Now, I have not primed my paper, and of course you should do that. So I think this one's called Lobster Red, I'm not sure, and I do know for a fact that you can't get them anymore. And why they were discontinued, I don't know, because they're just great to use. So then you can add in your graphite. Now, I don't know whether you're going to get the same shimmery effect, because I have put this down quite watery. But I just wanted to show you, you can change the tone of your watercolours, because if I rest that on there and put this down, hopefully you can see the difference. I mean, this is something that would just have regular water into it anyway, but if I pick that up, you can see it took just the rinsing of my brush to create that colour. There's your graphite in your red, and there's your red. Now, I am actually sure that this one is called Lobster, but I'm going to wash my brush off into there. Who knows what colour I've created now. And let's put this down. And then I do have Jane Davenport in silver. So I'm going to get the lid off this. This one doesn't play very well. And I'm going to pop it into there. So you've actually got silver on top of the charcoal. Now this contains mica, so you're getting extra sparkle. But then when you add your graphite into the water, let's get this. Just want to wipe my brush off here, because I don't want to over pollute what's in the pot. And I'm just going to grab a little bit here, add some water. I've probably done this the wrong way around, but when you add water it blooms. Hang on, let me get that down there. Totally water it and wash it out. Let's try and add some neat into a watery section. Oh, it's a shame you can't see it, but it does. It blows out on itself. Let's see if I can lift that up. So that when you're doing it with other colours, you can actually train it to start putting shade into things. And it will stay there. And then, of course, once it's dry, don't know what on earth I'm creating here. It looks like a big cloud. But once it's dry, you can polish it again and get the same effect that you get with what we've just done on the embossing folder with the spoon. And of course you can also use it to splat. Now this is not a perfect brush for splatting, but you can get some great splats with it. Oh, you can probably see the bloom in the red, because the red will remain water reactive, whereas the charcoal doesn't. So I'm going in, I'm just smooshing all that around now. Or you can actually see that the red does stain into the paper. But look at that difference in colour. So you can just keep playing with these. Ooh, I like that. Well, anyway, we have splooshed and splashed, and I will come back to this again because we'll use it in a stencil. But I have played around today. Yes, I have. And it was great fun. So now we've got our lovely sparkly, very realistic metal embossed. I like that. It looks great on flowers as well. Right, I thank you so much for joining me today. Do have an absolutely awesome day. As usual, all links below, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye.